Welcome to Chapter 4, Exchange Rates 4.2. As you can see, this man has a problem. You see some currencies floating around his head, and he has trouble understanding what to do in this case. As you know, a lot of countries use different currencies, and if we want to trade, well, we'll face some issues. This chapter, or rather, this part of the chapter, will focus on this problem. So let's go. There are some key concepts to know. That the first one is that exchange rates, they change all the time. This creates a risk for everyone involved, and the place where currency is traded, because you can actually trade currency, is the foreign exchange market, or forex. So when I talk about forex, you have to note that I'm talking about the marketplace where people come together to trade currency. Some people actually are day traders, and they only are active on the forex market. So they buy, for instance, euros, and then they wait until they can sell it for like Australian dollars or something like that in order to make a profit. Um, so yeah, that's a possible um, thing you can do. If you look at page 11 in the textbook, you see the major currencies listed, and you have all these small numbers over there indicating the exchange rates. So as you can see, it gets quite confusing. The demand for foreign currency. Now, you have to realize that um, demand for foreign currency can have multiple sources, and in this case, the very first source of demand over here will be coming from the importers. So this actually means that to pay for bought goods and services outside of the Eurozone, you will need foreign currency. So first of all, you need this foreign currency, and then you can only buy certain goods and services. So these people will need foreign currency. Then you have the classic example, the tourists. If you go on a vacation outside of the Eurozone, for instance, you go to America, you will need dollars. Right here in Belgium, you can already go to your bank and ask for dollars. So this means you are asking for foreign currency. Investors that want to invest their money outside of the Eurozone, it's also possible over here that they will need to do so in a foreign currency. So they will need, or they will be a part of the demand as well. Yeah, this thing has my classic meme over here. Why is this last one important, or how does this like work? Here we have a slide that talks about that issue in particular. As you can see, investors that want to invest their money outside of the Eurozone. Think about Bird Person. Bird Person is a character from Rick and Morty. And Bird Person, he is rich. Imagine he lives in England or in Belgium, and he wants to invest outside of the Eurozone. And he sees that the interest rates are very high in China. So he's able to make more profit over there. So this means that he will need to convert his euros to the Chinese currency. Um, and this makes him part of the demand for foreign currency. That's how that works. So not too difficult, I think. That was demand. Of course, we also have supply. Who is going to supply the currency? Well, this is just the um, other side of the spectrum, of course. Here we have the exporters. They received foreign currency because they sold goods and services outside of the Eurozone. We have the tourists that are going on vacation in the Eurozone. And here we have the investors that want to invest their money inside of the Eurozone. So these could be like American or Chinese investors, and they want to put money into our system. So they will swap currency, and their foreign currency will flow in the market, and that's how we can access it in the end. Okay, so now you know about the demand and the supply of foreign currency. Now, how is the exchange rate decided? As you can see, we start with analyzing the market itself. where the currency will be exchanged, the forex market once again, and we will actually use the model of perfect competition over here. This is something we've seen in the past to characterize the forex markets. So the very first thing is that everything that is being traded on the market is homogeneous, and meaning that everything is the same. So the euros that Kevin is holding are the same euros as the ones in my wallet or in my bank account. Currency is the same. Well, euro to euro and dollar to dollar is the same, of course. There are no entry or exit barriers, so anyone can actually enter the market. You do have to be of a legal age, so you can also sell currency over there, and everyone has access to perfect information. You just can Google the exchange rates, and this allows you to have the information you need in order to trade. Not a single entity controls the market, meaning that we have a lot of supply, um, a lot of separate suppliers, and a lot of people that are generating demand. So there is not just one entity controlling everything. Okay. So this graph is one of the most important ones of this chapter because here you can see how the pricing works. So the pricing is determined by the mechanism of supply and demand. We just saw demand and supply as well. So here we see an example for the amount in USD on the x-axis, and then we see exchange rates in euro. We have supply and demand. The place where they touch each other will be our equilibrium, and it is over here where we will find the exchange rate on the y-axis. So this thing over here, the R, will be our exchange rate. Okay, this means we arrive at the next part, indirect causes that influence the exchange rate. So we know that supply and demand will affect the rate. Those are direct causes. Now we will look at different causes that are indirect. The very first one are the price levels inside and outside the Eurozone. So if you compare the UK, the US, and the Eurozone, um, you will see that prices will be different. So every economy is tied to different prices, or it's actually the other way around. Different prices will be tied to different economies. Plus, you also have the exchange rates that are different. What do I mean with that? Here we have a example. We're going to look at the price for 1 kilogram of bison. Well, since we have a bison over here and it looks pretty cute, so we're not going to eat him. We're going to use his fur, so he will not die. We'll just like shave his fur off, and this is a product. And for 1 kg, as you can see, you have to pay different prices. In the Eurozone, this will only be like 20 euros. In the UK, this is at 40 euros, and in the US, we have to pay 50 euros. Um, it might be the case this is just a unrealistic example, but imagine that bisons are still available here in the Eurozone. That's why the prices are so cheap for us compared to the other countries, right? As you can see, um, apparently 50 euros is around $75, and 40 euros is 30 British pounds. Using exchange rates, I think that I think I really used the actual exchange rates from like a few months back. So the thing over here is that, as you can see, the price levels are different, and this will influence the exchange rates. Um, you can also see that the purchase power of a US citizen will be lower regarding the bison fur if you compare it to a European citizen, right? So the price levels will also influence these exchange rates in the end. That's all you have to know. So here we have an example. So you see that the red flows are money going into the Eurozone, and the US and the UK will import the fur. That's why the green colored arrow is going towards them, and they have to pay us, of course. Um, as you can see, prices are different, so they will get different amounts of fur for different prices. This one is about the interest rate, if I'm not mistaken. Um, if rates in the, well, I don't think this is the right graph to show over here. This is just a graph depicting, I have no idea. The amount apparently goes up for a certain currency, which will increase the exchange rate. I have no idea why this slide is over here. I think this is something for later on, but this is how the mechanism works. If the amount goes up, you can actually see the exchange rate going up as well. Okay. Then we arrive at point B, the interest rates inside and outside of the Eurozone. They will also affect the exchange rate indirectly. If you have higher rates in the European zone, you will see that it's more interesting to invest in Europe. Money will flow into the Eurozone and the demand for the euro will go up. As you can see in the previous slide, I think these are just switched. This one should be up next. As you can see, the demand for a certain currency goes up, which will create a higher price in the end. Okay, well, a higher exchange rate. All right, let me swap these two slides around so I don't forget this for the next time. I will swap these around like that, and then I can continue with this here. The changes in the level of income. So, a higher national income means people will be able to import more goods and services. This means they will need a foreign currency to make these purchases. The demand for the euro drops since people are focusing on these foreign currencies instead. If demand for the euro drops, the exchange rate will drop as well. In the previous graph, we saw the opposite happening. So you can once again use the graph to find the solution over here. Of course, if the opposite happens, um, the opposite will happen in the end. So yeah, it's as easy as that. So if other countries become richer and your state stays the same, the opposite will obviously happen. Over here, we have the final one, a change in consumer preferences. Imagine suddenly everyone is interested in Chinese products, perhaps because they're cheaper. So the demand for the Chinese currency goes up, the demand for the euro goes down. We get the same graph again, and the rate will go down. Okay, nothing too special about that over there. Um, I will stop the video right here, otherwise this one will become too long. In the next one, I will talk about the exchange rate risk. Okay, very important one. But for this video, the most important factors are that you have to realize where demand and supply comes from regarding the foreign currency. You have to realize what Forex means and why we look at the Forex market as a market characterized by perfect competition. Finally, the graph. Learn to work with the graph. Realize that the exchange rate will be noted on the y-axis and that demand and supply can fluctuate um, because of indirect and direct reasons. Okay, see you in the next one.